Well, here in the coastal town of Mati, the wildfires are under control now. There was a smaller fire that erupted in the region late last night. That too has now been extinguished, according to firefighters. Now, the scene here, as I'm sure you can see, is one of destruction. There's a very strong, acrid smell of ash hanging in the air, and this town is very much abandoned. 1,500 homes, at least in this region, have been destroyed, according to authorities. We spoke to one woman earlier this morning. She said that when she returned to her home after fleeing the flames in a car, it was, and I quote, simply evaporated. As you can see behind me, there's also a burnt-out car. This is something we've seen a lot of this morning. Cars that were abandoned as people fled them to escape the flames. Other cars tragically caught in the flames with their owners inside. 81 people have been confirmed dead, but that number is very much expected to rise in the days and weeks to come. There are a large number of missing people. Authorities aren't saying exactly how many are missing, but they are believed to be dozens of people. The majority of those who perished were Greek residents on holiday here at this seaside town. There were at least 4 foreign tourists too, 2 Polish citizens, 1 Belgian and 1 Irishman who had been here on his honeymoon. His new wife is in hospital recovering from what we hear are severe burns. She's one of 60 people still in hospital being treated for severe injuries. So yes, this really is a scene of devastation, also a scene of a huge loss of life. Just how huge will only become clear in the days and weeks to come.
And Taxi, are we any closer at this point to finding out what actually initially caused these wildfires?
Well, when talking about the causes of these fires, it's very important to note the ferocity with which they spread. The fires really only raged for a number of hours and only affected a number of neighbourhoods. Compare that to the Greek wildfires of 2007. They raged for over a week and covered a much larger area of land, while also resulting in fewer deaths. Without a doubt, climate is a huge factor here. Greece had an extremely warm winter. Recent days and weeks, like so much of Europe, have been very hot, very dry. And at the beginning of this week, there were extremely strong winds, gale force winds of up to 100 kilometres an hour, and that really did create the perfect storm. Now, this area is also densely populated. Building regulations are also often ignored, meaning that some of these buildings are possibly more vulnerable to flames as they should be. We're also in a pine forest that in drier weeks, drier months, is particularly vulnerable to wildfire. We spoke to a woman earlier this morning who said that the flames, as she tried to flee them, reached more than 10 metres above the trees you can see behind me here. Now, every year there are also accusations of arson every time smaller wildfires do erupt. People accusing landowners specifically of intentionally setting fire to their fields in order to then be able to build on them. That is as yet unsubstantiated, but it will, of course, be one of the lines of inquiry of the investigation into the cause of these wildfires that has just been launched.